Hey, so I'm going to do a traveling with a newborn vlog. Guess it's like tips, kind of something rather. We recently went on a trip with our 6-week-old, and we went to Florida from Ohio, and we drove. So these are geared more towards driving. They'll work with flying too, but they're not like flying specific. But it's just some things that either we did or we will do next time to make our trip a little easier. So there's 10 things. First one, my sister-in-law actually did this, and I thought it was really cool. For a white noise machine, because, you know, it's not always easy to travel with one, especially because they flew to Florida. She used an alarm clock or a clock radio, whatever, and just turned the radio to static, which made white noise. And I just thought that was so cool, you know, because almost everybody has a radio, so it would be readily available to where you wouldn't have to take a white noise machine. Even at hotels and stuff. So I thought that was a really neat thing for traveling. Number 2 is, if you're breastfeeding, it is not easier to take bottles. I pumped ahead of time to take bottles for while we were in the car. But because, for one, when you feed him a bottle, then you have to burp him somehow, so you have to stop anyways, or you don't burp him and then they spit up all over themselves. So, you know, it was kind of silly to go through all of the hassle of attempting, because then you have to take 1,000,000 bottles, and then you have to pump while you're driving, and I ended up giving him 1 bottle, and the rest I just nursed him when we stopped. He only eats every 4 hours, so it's not a big deal for me. You know, we only had to stop, our trip was 14.5 hours, so we had to stop about 3 or 4 times. So it really was not a big deal, but that's definitely something I would not even plan on doing our next trip. So if you breastfeed, just stop and nurse. It's so much easier. Number 3 is pack and plays. They are fantastic. If you're flying, it may not be as easy for you to take one. However, like getting it secondhand, like on Craigslist or like a rummage sale site online, or even like a consignment shop, I mean, you can get them for pretty inexpensive, and it's so if you're going to stay with family or whatever, it may even be worth it for them to just pick one up to have it there. Because it definitely gives you a place to have your baby to sleep in that's all its own. Especially if you're not a co-sleeper. Excuse me. So yeah, that was phenomenal for us to have during our trip. Number 4 are pacifiers. Take like 10 of them. We took a whole bag, like a baggie full of them. I think we had probably 10 or so. But between dropping them on the floor and not being able to wash them off, or I am not one of those moms that stick it in their mouth to clean it off. Like, I don't want to eat the ground, so that's just nasty, you know, so I wait till I get it home and I can clean it or sterilize it or whatever. Also, you know, we were at my parents' house, and my sister's dog kept stealing the pacifiers and like carrying them in her mouth, so obviously I'm not going to stick it back in my kid's mouth right afterwards. So the fact that we had taken so many pacifiers really helped out. My baby is not hooked on pacifiers, but if your baby is, like needs them and can't soothe themselves any other way, make sure you have a ton. So yeah, those are a big deal. Number 5 is emergency info sheet, or I've even heard of people writing like their emergency contact number and stuff on their child's car seat in case of an accident or something like that. Because obviously, you know, a piece of paper will probably get lost if there's an accident or something. Or even if there's not an accident, I mean, how often do you misplace a piece of paper? If it's written on the car seat, you can't lose it. So, and it's the car seat's usually with your baby. That is an important thing to have, especially when you're traveling, just in case. Or even like, you know, doctors' phone numbers and stuff to make sure that you have them, or if, you know, somebody else is going to be watching your kid while you're on vacation. You know, it's just a really important and good thing to have. Number 6 is car seat. Sorry, not car seat. A carrier or a stroller. Our stroller is ginormous, and we would not have been able to fit luggage in our trunk if we had taken our stroller, so that was out of the question. If you are flying, you can actually, I guess that's one benefit to flying. They will check your stroller for free, like right as you get on the plane. So that's nice for that, but we couldn't take the stroller. So in our case, taking a carrier was a better option, you know, like a wrap or an ergo. Wow, I can't think of any. Wow, I can't think of any carriers right now. I know a bunch, but anyway, some kind of carrier that you can wear your baby, because they get heavy. I mean, I have a 12 pound something ounce 6-week-old, so he gets heavy carrying him around. So I definitely, carriers are nice. Number 7 is plastic bags. They just, you know, just little ones. They come in handy for so many different things. Whether it's for diapers, for wet clothes, dirty clothes, if it leaks. With a car seat, especially for him being in there so long. Well, I mean, we change his diaper, you know, every couple of hours. But the compression on the diaper can make their diaper leak more than if there was none. We cloth diaper, so I don't know if it's more likely to leak in a cloth diaper with being compressed like that or disposable. We really didn't have any leaks in the car seat, but there can be, especially if you have a heavy wetter. You know, my baby's still young, so he's not peeing too much for his diaper yet. Whoa, sorry. Oh gosh. I kicked the tripod. So we didn't have issues with that, but it's definitely can happen. So those little baggies are really nice for that. Or even, you know, just anything. I mean, yeah, plastic bags, fantastic. Number 8, burp cloths / bibs. Spit up, for drool, you know, for eating. Both of those things are great, and you should have an overabundance of them when traveling. Our baby spits up quite a bit, especially if he gets the hiccups right after he eats, which happens quite a bit. So we go through burp rags or burp cloths like a lot, especially because I don't like reusing one more than like twice if he spits up in it, because I don't want to feel all of that junk, and so we go through a lot of those. So those are definitely a really nice thing to have. And like we were taking pictures when we were in Florida this past weekend, and so they had, you know, their cute little outfits on, and my nephew, who is 3 months, 4 months, he's 4 months. He was drooling a lot, and so, you know, he used one of our bibs to keep from getting the drool on his nice new shirt. So, you know, they're just really, really nice to have. Don't forget them at home. Number 9 is a blanket. Whether it's a heavy blanket, if it's summer, obviously you don't need a heavy blanket, or a light blanket or whatever. But blankets are good for so many things. If you're nursing, breastfeeding, blah, 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 you know, covering up. If you have to do it in public, when a baby is hungry, they demand it. There's not really a lot of time without them screaming if they're hungry. So sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do and breastfeed in public. Some people enjoy doing it, I guess. For that, I mean, we used, since we were in the car for so long, we actually used it because we drove through the night, but at night you have all of the, like the lights on the interstate, the street lights, and so they were constantly, you know, running this bright light over the baby's face, and it was annoying him, so we draped it over the car seat to keep the light off of him. And then also, you know, if you're in airports especially, you never know where you're going to be that's overly air conditioned and makes them cold. So it's just always nice to have a blanket. Or if you have to even put them down on the floor somewhere and you don't want to put them on the floor, I mean, put the blanket down, put the baby on the blanket. Just take a blanket. Number 10, pack as many weather-friendly outfits as you can. When I was packing for him, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so overpacking. I do not need all of this stuff. We, because we were going to Florida, we also took some short sleeve stuff because it's still warm there, even though it's winter right now. And then I packed like, I don't know, 10 sleepers. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm gonna have so many extra clothes that we don't wear. Which we did. We had several onesies that we didn't wear. The warm weather clothing, we didn't wear much, just because it's easier for him to wear a sleeper, like one of those sleep and plays, whatever they're called. So I put him in that a lot, because he still sleeps a lot. But we went through those twice. I don't know, I had at least 10, and in 4 days I had to wash all of them, and then we ran out again, and on the way home, the poor little thing, we had to dress in summer clothes, like Florida clothes, and then wrap him in a blanket because, you know, on the drive up north, it got colder as we got more north, and so I had my little tiny baby in this short-sleeved romper, and I felt so bad. So luckily I had a really thick blanket that I could wrap around him, because, you know, we had to take him out and take him into, like, the restroom to change him and stuff. So just pack a lot of clothes. And I say weather-friendly because we packed a lot of clothes, but they weren't all weather-friendly for, like, the cold weather. Obviously, we did need some for the hot weather, but we could have used more sleepers because, yeah, he wasn't dressed appropriately. But yeah, so those are just some of the things that you shouldn't forget if you're going on a trip. My experience with traveling with a 6-week-old, it was easy for us. On the way there, he slept the entire time except for waking to eat every 4 hours, but other than that, he slept the entire time. On the way back, he fussed for a few hours off and on, but I would say like 5 or 6 hours off and on. But after that, he fell asleep and slept other than waking up to eat. And it wasn't straight crying. It was just, I think he was just tired of being in the car seat. But so it worked out really well for us. However, you know, depending on the age of your baby, what stage it's in, it could be more stressful for them. But yeah, so thanks for watching. Have a great day.